All right, okay, so the first conversation is a table shaker. Comics lovers are set for an inclusive superhero character from DC Comics. According to the studio, the next Superman comic book, which will be released in November, will portray John Kent as bisexual. John Kent is Superman's son. According to Tom Taylor, the series creator told BBC that when he originally got the job, he thought about what the new Superman should be. It struck me that it would be a real missed opportunity if we replaced Clark Kent with another straight white savior. There's been a real shift over the past years, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and this would have been more difficult, but I think things have shifted in a really welcoming way. Despite initial opposition from critics, the studios say the move has received positive reviews.
Well, okay, so for me, right, it's not our culture, so let's get that out of the way. But I will speak from,
it's not your culture. There's so many gay people here.
Yeah, but it's not part of our culture. Like, that's why if they are caught, they go to jail for 14 years, right? Yeah, so it's not our culture. So I'm not going to be speaking from a Nigerian standpoint right now. I'm going to be speaking from the Western standpoint. Now, we're talking about inclusivity, right? For everybody. Whether, you know, queer, gay, bi, straight, black, white, Asian. We're looking for inclusivity in every industry, transgender, trans, and everything. And that's what is happening over there, right? And I remember when this is a similar case of when Black Panther came out and we had our first black superhero.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Exactly. So why can't we have another bisexual, you know, superhero? It's just, you know, let's include everybody. Now we know that the world is changing. It's not what we used to know it to be. And this is now our reality. Yeah. We have a lot of bisexual men, gay men that are doing very well, very, very successful. Look at people like Richard Quest. Look at people like Piers Morgan. Look at people like, do you understand? There are a lot of very solid, influential, responsible, and hardworking gay men that are doing very well in their different spheres, in their different industry. So, man, please, by all means, but the moment we now start having, you know, Super Striker, we now start seeing that our Super Striker guy that is beginning to tap bomb while they are playing ball. We go Verso.
They're already doing that. Okay.
We'll tear the mag. Don't even try it with our Super Striker guy.
So when I first saw this, I thought it was a bit unnecessary because I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like, why are kids even like being exposed to?
But it's their culture.
To let me finish my conversation. You know, like, why are we even talking about that? Like, I remember growing up, the conversation around boys or what I liked or what I didn't like started at a very, like, older teenage days than that. And I was having this conversation with a friend and everything that, obviously, you know me, I'm an ally for the LGBTQ community. Culture or not, it's not my culture to be oppressing anybody, so I don't accept that culture. I feel like everybody has a right to have consensual sex with whoever they want to. That's my opinion. But, what's it called? When I first saw it, I was just like, you know, why is that even a thing? Like, why do we need to know his sexuality? Because when I was when I was younger, I didn't even really, that was not something that I was thinking about. But based on the feedback that I got from that conversation, I realized that, one, I'm in a different time, and it's a very old school thinking, because the youngins today are having heavy conversations about that stuff than we were. We were not having those conversations, but they are. Nigeria, Ghana, abroad, kids are talking about being gay, being lesbian, being this, being that, and it's just their world. So it's to be very ignorant to deny their reality. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? These kids are more exposed, they're more advanced, and this is a very healthy way to have such conversations. I feel like, you know, the way Nigeria is handling it, it's a very like it has this element of denial in it. You know, yes, it's illegal to be caught in the act or whatever, but the truth of the matter is that there will always be, and there's always been, gay people, right? So if it's up to you as a community, as a culture, as a country, if you decide to ignore it, but it's going to still keep happening. And then for the people in the West who are hands-on and are trying to actually like be more involved involved in their kids' life, genuinely having the real conversations, I think cartoon is a very good way to do that. Now, it depends on how they represent this guy. Like, you can be bisexual or whatever, but and that's something I'm going to also say in my next story. I think that there's so much more to a human being than their sexuality. Like, so it depends on how they portray this cartoon. If it's just about him being bisexual and him being bisexual, and then me, I'll be the first person to protest against it, because I think kids need to understand that I think human beings need to understand that they're more complex and more diverse than their sexuality, their race, you know, their age or whatever. Like, let's talk about more things. But if it's just something that you've included, then I agree with it. And then the statement that he made about Superman being a white savior, that's something that people have complained about for a very long time, because it perpetuated the whole idea of white supremacy, Superman being the strongest person. So it's nice to give him a character that's marginalized to strengthen the people, right? That's
for balance.
Exactly. That, I mean, they wanted him to be black at first, and I know that that's because you want to give representation to that community, right? They want to see, they want to feel seen. So it's a good approach, but I hope that they execute it properly.
And if you think about it, just not too long ago, I think about 2 months ago, the new Batman and Robin comic that came out as well. Robin is also bisexual.
Right. You see, the thing is, we've always had, if you're a big comics fan, there's always been these people that really like draw narratives and build a whole psychology around things. And there's been a conversation around the sexuality of these superheroes for a long time. I was expecting this from Batman, because Batman had
Superman.
No, from Batman actually. I was expecting this to come from Batman's comic franchise, because there's been a whole controversy around his sexuality. He's never really had a female thing that has developed and stuff like that. He's never really, he's not really moved by that kind of stuff. So that, you know,
so it didn't come to you as a shock.
No, I was expecting that they would build on that. If they're going to put any sexuality into a cartoon character or whatever, if they're going to build on that, they would have. I feel like it's more natural for Batman. But then when I saw that it wasn't even Clark Kent that was bisexual, then it made sense. It was Clark Kent's son,
John Kent.
Which can happen. You can give birth to a gay boy. It's very possible.
I tell that to what's his name, Kevin Hart.
Okay, still in the spirit of LGBTQ plus communities and the, I've forgotten the other letters, but you know, all of them, Netflix bosses have doubled down on Dave Chappelle's controversial new comedy special, defending their decision not to pull it and suspending a transgender employee who spoke out against it. That's not actually a true story, but I'll explain why. Ted Sarandos had broken his silence following the drama that followed the release of The Closer, which is Dave Chappelle's special, insisting he won't be removing the hit despite outrage from gay rights and gender activists who accuse Chappelle of going too far. The Closer crosses that line. This is what he's saying. I recognize, however, that distinguishing between commentary and harm is hard, especially with stand-up comedy, which exists to push boundaries. Some people find the art of stand-up to be mean-spirited, but our members enjoy it, and it's an important part of our content offering.
Go on.
Okay. So I had to go and watch this. First of all, it's Dave Chappelle. Okay.
Yes.
First of all, let's calm down. It is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is a woke, offensive, not common thinking, controversial, funny, smart, full-spirited, kind-hearted comedian. And I don't think anybody can take that away from him. I'll start with that. Secondly, I think in the spirit, okay, so I'm very torn. The transgender community abroad are the most attacked members of the LGBTQ plus community, right? They're not accepted. Well, in fact, they kill them. They don't kill gay people as much. They don't kill lesbians. They don't kill cross-dressers, but they kill. And now, especially in that same trans community, the black trans people even have it worse than the white trans people. So they are suffering. So I understand when there is this idea that because there's a people that are suffering so much, it's not nice to then maybe mock them, making them less human than, you know, the others, so that you're not sending damage their way. It's like when COVID happened and the Asians were dealing with what they were dealing with, and then a comedian now comes and mocks Asians. It's not a very good idea. I get that. But when I listened to the whole thing, I'm not gonna lie, it was not as offensive. It was a proper, you know, when a joke is good, like it enters, is what it was for me, than a offensive, dark-hearted, hatred thing. I didn't see the hate.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Look at Kim Kardashian's monologue on SNL, right? Did you find anything offensive, or you thought all the jokes entered?
I mean, it's first of all, it's her family and it's her joke. If somebody else said it, maybe, but she's the one that's mocking all her family members. But a lot of people are still
saying that, oh man, she went way too far. She told us about how her family did plastic surgery, blah blah.
Yeah, blah. But those are not new information now.
You know, but you know they've never accepted that
they have accepted you.
Chloe
has accepted. Maybe not for the butts and stuff, but they talk about like liposuction,
nose,
nose and
they've
stuff
never like
admitted for the body because they say that it's exercise and stuff. But Kylie has talked about her lips many times, so I think she was just jabbing for fun and stuff. Anyway, for Dave Chappelle and the trans community, the first joke, in case you haven't watched any that I can remember, he said that Caitlyn Jenner, so Kylie, the Kim Kardashian family, the man used to be a man and now he became a woman, and then a year after being fully transitioned into a woman from a man, he got Woman of the Year award from a magazine, and she was put on a magazine and And Dave Chappelle made a joke that how can you be the Woman of the Year when you've only been a woman for a year? Like what happened to the other women who've been women from their whole life and stuff? It's not offensive now. It's a joke. It's ha ha ha. It's funny. And then also I think
who's that?
It's a ha 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 moment for me. And also I think that as much as the LGBTQ plus community is marginalized and a bit oppressed, I think we need to also start developing the spirit of we are all the same, because if you want to claim equality, we're allowed to jab at you. Black people are going through their issues and we jab at black people. Asians are going through their issues and comedians jab at Asians. I don't think that because of your sexuality we're not allowed to now make joke about you anymore. Why? It's a bit too sensitive, in my opinion.
And to be honest, I love the Netflix response.
Me too.
Do you understand? I love the way they stood by it, because of course they watched it before they put it there, and of course they have a lot of white people there. Of course they have a lot of transgender people. Of course they have a lot of gay, bisexual people working for them.
By Netflix.
So the way they just came back and they stood by this man and they said, look,
they
have a strong working relationship with this guy. And everybody, they are not going to limit anybody's creativity. Do you understand? Which is something that I think Ali Baba, when he was on the show, also made clear. That look, allow people to make jokes about whatever they want to.
Trust me, if Dave Chappelle crossed the line, if he was saying some hateful stuff, they won't say that.
And then I love the way they said there's a way to that is hard to differentiate between commentary and harmful hate speech and all that. So at the end of the day, I think we need to actually draw the line. Allow creatives to be able to express themselves the way they want to without you seeing it as offensive. As long as you can laugh about it. It's not like he was Lil Baby, that baby that went and said some very nasty things.
Because someone is just throwing hate at them. Like, oh, don't put on your lights if you have AIDS. That's by proper discrimination and everything. Baba made a joke about
He made a joke and it entered, like you said,
Wale as in Allah. And then also the whole controversy that they were saying that Netflix fired a transgender person for coming out. That's not true. People need to stop reporting that. They fired him for something else. Like he was insubordinate in the workplace because he had a meeting that wasn't inclusive of the proper authorities or something like that, and then they fired him. You see, Netflix
they didn't even fire him, it was suspended.
I mean, that's a big deal abroad. But Netflix, you see, for me, this really gave me respect for Netflix, because a lot of powerful people have come out to boycott Netflix, saying that they'll remove even Dear White People. The writer of the series Dear White People was saying, bless you, was saying that they're going to remove their franchise and they're going to whatever. You're saying that you're bringing the heat and everything. You think that Netflix will want to budge or whatever, but they're like, Baba, you can remove it. Go on, go to Amazon, go to whoever. And I like that spirit, because the LGBTQ plus community, that's another thing I need to say about this community. I love you people so much, and I know it can be very hard being who you are, and that, every day is a suffering, you cannot express who you are, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. But you guys can be very toxic. Because the girl that they're talking about opened for Dave Chappelle last year, and because they don't like that Dave Chappelle makes jokes about the LGBTQ plus community, they dragged this girl so much that she, I mean, we cannot really say for sure why she killed herself, but we cannot remove it either that from your dragging a few weeks after she then killed herself. Like, allow people to think differently. And that's something that, you know what also is funny about this community, that in his special, he made a comment about how he doesn't like the whole cancel culture thing. That why is it that the LGBTQ plus community feel like they are untouchable? Like, we're not allowed to have different opinions. We're never allowed to agree. Well, must I agree with your sexuality? Even straight people.
Even black people disagree with white people. White people disagree with black people. We have still not.
Even in straight skinny, you can be a straight man, and I will not agree with the kind of girls that you like.
You get me?
So, like, why do you think that you're all of a sudden so untouchable that nobody can disagree? Like, if I don't agree to the LGBTQ plus community, and I'm not causing any harm, as in, like, I'm not, it's just my opinion, I'm allowed to have that.
Yes, of course.
And then he now said that, what's it called, is the only community that they see that they want to cancel really deeply, and then you go and do the exact same thing he was preaching about. Makes no sense. Makes
absolutely no sense.
On that note, we'll give you a music break and come back to Real Life Matters.